Yo, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Seagull Talks Football. We're back again with another video, and I'm back after a couple days where I was only doing uploads. I needed to come back and do a live stream as there's just so much to talk about. Of course, there's been Victor Osimhen news. There's been Victor Gyökeres news. There's been news about a Brazilian Wonderkid. Zinchenko getting a new number. Nico Williams is staying. All these things, plus Arsenal goalkeeper situation. What is going to happen with that? And today I have my wonderful guest, none other than the man himself, Deo in the building. Deo, what you saying?
What's up? How you doing, man? Sorry. Trying to adjust. It's a little cold in here, so that's why I've got a jacket on. I cranked up the heat is crazy this summer, so I cranked up the AC to like almost the highest. And so inside the house it's freezing. Outside is like, if you go outside, you're like almost at 40, 41. Like that's what it is outside right now. Is ridiculous. But yeah, man, thanks for having me. A lot has happened, and a lot is going to still happen. The window is still open. It's open till the end of the month. So hey, anything can happen between now and then. I'm buzzing for what we are capable of going to be able to do as Arsenal. But let's talk about the other things first.
There you go. Arsenal's late move for Victor Osimhen. We're going to talk about that. Plus, this Brazilian wonder kid who we're after. But before we go any further, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get the show started right now. Bang. Yes, people, what's going on in Seagull Talks Football? We are back again with another video. Welcome back to the channel. First things first, let's begin with, you know what? I was going to begin with this. Actually, we will begin with this and then we'll go to the next thing after. So Nico Williams is staying at Atletico, at Athletic Club. And at this moment in time, Barcelona might be looking at Federico Chiesa. You had Nico Williams on the Athletic Club channel saying, I'm back and I'm really looking forward to this season. He said that on the actual channel. So you can see it here. It was on their TikTok page or Instagram. The Atletico Club actually tweeted this out. So Nico Williams will be staying. The saga is over for Barcelona. Plus Arsenal, let's be honest, he was always going to end up at Barcelona. He wasn't going to come to Arsenal. He's back in training, and he's most likely going to be staying for another year. Nico Williams will not join Barcelona or PSG. He will be staying at Atletico Club. And Arsenal, we're probably distant third looking at the player as and at this moment in time. And that is not going to happen. It's quite unfortunate because he was one of the guys who were heavily after this window. How do you feel hearing about this now, man?
It is what it is, man. Like, Athletic Bilbao is a unique club. They're a very wealthy club. I think people don't realize how wealthy they are, and they've got a unique system where it's hard to get players away from them, especially when it comes to like the player salary. They sign players from the Basque region. That's like that the Basque region in Spain. That's where they sign most of their players from. So they don't buy players per se. So they pay very high wages, and they can sell at exorbitant prices if they want to. So even if Nico Williams had to go to like Barcelona, let's say Barcelona was able to cough up the release clause, all right, or whatever the price that Athletic Bilbao set for them is, the problem then becomes his wages. Somebody who's already at 220,000 euros a week, like he's not going to want to take anything less than that. So yeah, so I knew it was going to be a difficult deal to pull off. It's a shame. I wish we could have gotten him, but even for us, it would have been a difficult deal to pull off because we would have to increase his wages, and that puts him at one of our top earners, immediately, coupled with the rest of the bonuses and all the bonuses on achievements and all that, which I think he would have lived up to. But let's see what happens in 2025. Let's see if he's able to pull off this season again, brilliantly like he did last season and in the Euros. If he's able to keep that up, if Barcelona's finances are solid next season, they're going to get him because he wants to go play with his boy, Lamine. But if Barcelona's finances are still terrible next season, and the Spanish league is still giving them problems as regards to being able to sign certain players, then maybe we can go for him then next season. But it's a bit disappointing that we didn't get him, but it is what it is. I mean, we're not lacking in that department. If we're looking at our wingers, I'm not saying comparing skill set with skill set, but we're not lacking. It's not like Martinelli can't do the business if he's in his top form, or it's not like Saka can't do the business if he's at his peak. You know what I'm saying? So we're not lacking in that department per se. So I don't. Yeah, I think we can wait it out one more season. We can wait it out one more season.
Now we have a situation. After the Nico Williams news, there was some major news that dropped today. And big up to the 45 people watching in the background. Do me a favor, please do hit that like button, as we are now going to speak about the major news of today's video. And I didn't even put it in the title. Because I thought we weren't really going to speak about Alvarez to Atletico Madrid. Not really relevant, as we needed to speak about some other Arsenal news, but we were slightly linked to him over the past couple of days. I never thought for once we were going to get Julian. In my opinion, I never thought Julian Alvarez was going to come to Arsenal. It is interesting that he's ending up at Atletico Madrid. Julian Alvarez looks like he will be an Atletico Madrid player. David Ornstein reporting that he most likely will be agreeing. What is it? 85. What was it that they agreed?
70. I think
70 million.
70 plus 20 million in add-on. So it's almost a 95 million deal. So it's 70. It's 70, I think, or 75. Then plus another. What I read. I need to go pull it up and check.
Let me show you guys. Do me a favor. Please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And this is relevant to Arsenal. And I'll explain to you why in a second. So first things first, Julian Alvarez, Atletico Madrid reached an agreement with Man City to sign Julian Alvarez in a deal worth 95 million euros.
Yeah.
With it, including add-ons, roughly 82 million pounds, which is a club record for Man City. 24-year-old has finalized personal terms and will complete the move to Atletico Madrid. Now, I will be speaking to Vader later tonight about this transfer and everything that implications on the Premier League, because I do believe this will have a massive implications to the Premier League title race and everything else. But you know what happens now that Man City are out of the race, they've sold Julian Alvarez. This now opens the door for them to potentially buy new players and bring in new players this window to try to further strengthen their team. They didn't even hold players back from leaving. Atletico Madrid, they got themselves a decent deal also. I've seen much worse players than Julian Alvarez go for more than 80 million. So that's a pretty good deal for a player who's won as much as he's won and has gotten as many goals and trophies and has been able to play as many games without injury. He doesn't really have injury problems. He doesn't really have versatility problem. You kind of know where you can play him. I think he could be their Griezmann replacement. I think it's a good signing for Atletico Madrid. And for
Atletico is moving. They're moving well in the market. If they get this deal over the line, I read something earlier again today about the Atletico deal is also, if Julian Alvarez doesn't agree personal terms with Atletico Madrid, Atletico will probably not do the Conor Gallagher deal as well. There's just a whole bunch of things tied into it. I don't know, maybe somebody's coming up with some kind of conspiracy, but that's another thing for another day.
What's the relation?
So basically, for them, they see all the pieces that they're buying from England, from the EPL as a, I don't know, there's just some, I need to read it properly and understand what they're trying to say, which is why I said I'm not going to speak on it. I just read it and I was like, I don't understand what these people are talking about here. But outside this deal that they're doing, like you said, this opens the door for Man City to re-strengthen. And there's already rumors of them looking at Danny Olmo, if I'm not mistaken.
He's done. He's already a Barcelona player.
Is he a Barcelona player right now? There was some rumors this morning.
Danny Olmo.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, like, hey, like I said,
Danny Olmo deal got done earlier today. Did you not see
that's
that?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying as of early this morning, there was rumors that's what I'm saying, rumors that Man City could swoop in and get the deal, and then it got done right after that with Barcelona.
It's done.
Okay, there we go. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much information, like in less than an hour. It's like 10 minutes before it was this, 10 minutes after it's this, 10 minutes later is this. So it's like keeping up with all of that is crazy. I'm just saying. So that means City can now
who they could go for? Man City are now interested in Pedro Neto. Yes, Pedro Neto could potentially be Man City's replacement. And that's one of the guys we were after. That's one of the guys Tottenham are after. Pedro Neto is an potential Arsenal target. And now Pedro Neto could be that guy who they potentially go, where is it? So yeah, reports are coming out that I need to find the actual report where it says
That
Pedro
was that
Neto.
was one. That was one over there. But my thing is,
I
yeah,
need to find the
they
Pedro Neto to Man City rumor.
do you think Pedro Neto moves the needle for Man City with his injury record? Like, do you think that he goes to Man City and he moves the needle? We saw the same thing with Kovacic. We saw the same thing with certain players that they bought. I don't think these guys like losing Julian Alvarez and bringing in Pedro Neto.
No, but Pedro Neto is somebody we're interested in, and I think if he comes to Arsenal, he definitely strengthens us. I don't. I know Man City, they're better. They're in a better situation than us because they just literally won the league numerous times in a row. But Pedro Neto definitely improves your team. Right now, they have Savio and they have what's it called? What's the other guy? Savio and Doku, and Foden, Bernardo Silva. Get rid of Julian Alvarez. You bring in Pedro Neto. It's not a direct replacement, but they also have Oscar Bob, who can replace Julian Alvarez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think Man City losing Julian Alvarez is a situation where you look at it and you say to yourself, they're directly improving us?
They're not directly improving us. I think for them, they also need to like for how long do you want to keep good players on the bench? You know, not give them enough minutes. These players are going to want to leave eventually. They're going to want to leave eventually. Like, do you understand? Like, so for me, it was a matter of time before these kind of things began to happen at City, and that's what I'm hoping doesn't happen to us. Which is why we need to get the right type of players that we can grow with, win stuff with, and they understand the whole. Like, it will get to a point where it's like, hey, dude, I need more time. I'm too good to be sitting there. And you can't blame Julian Alvarez for wanting to leave. He's second striker to a machine, a cyborg. Erling Haaland is not normal. That's not a normal. That guy is not a human being. So there's nothing you can do. Anybody who goes to City is going to be on the bench, no matter how good you are. Do you understand? Like, it's a hard place to be. It's a hard place to be.
Right. So Julian Alvarez headed to Atletico. If we don't get Pedro Neto, what other options do we have in the winger position at Arsenal?
I've said this before. For Arsenal, what we have in the wings, let's take a look at it and let's be realistic. If we bring in a striker, right, which is what I think we need, we bring in a striker, we strengthen our defense, we can move Gabriel Jesus to the right to be Bukayo Saka's backup. We have Leandro Trossard on the left as Martinelli's backup, or Martinelli as Leandro Trossard's backup, whichever way, whoever is in form, right? We have that left wing covered. We have the right wing covered with Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Jesus. If we bring in another prolific striker, we have that, and we have Kai Havertz as our second striker. Then we can look at the midfield. We bring in Merino. Merino is on the left. We have Reiss. We have Odegaard. We have Thomas Partey. We have Jorginho. Like, I mean, we even have Zinchenko that people don't like can now become a left eight. We can move him into that left mid as well because we brought in Calafiori to cover the left back. We have Timber in defense. Like, our defense is stacked, you know. So I think that we don't really need a winger. I think we need a striker, a different profile of striker, and we can have Kai Havertz and him interchange every now and then, depending on who we're playing and how we're playing. And we can move Gabriel Jesus to the right. He will do damage on the right. And the good thing about people like Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Jesus is they can play across the front three. So we can easily throw Leandro Trossard on the right and Gabriel Jesus on the left as well at any given time. These guys can play in 2 or 3 different positions. So this idea that we need an out-and-out right winger to just back up Bukayo Saka and have that person on the bench so that we don't put pressure on Saka, I'm like, no, we don't. We already have them in the squad. Where we need to strengthen is up front. Because if I move Gabriel Jesus out from up front, put him on the right, and bring in like a Victor Gyökeres or an Osimhen or an Isak type player or anybody who's a prolific out-and-out 9, right? That's a different profile from Kai Havertz, who's a false 9, crashes the box, type striker, good hold of play type of player. So for me, I think that's what we need because we already have the little pieces to back each other up. Last season, Martinelli wasn't firing on all pumps. Leandro Trossard came in and did the business, right? So we had cover for that. What we didn't have cover for was Bukayo Saka because when he got tired and was limping around, Gabriel Jesus was injured. We couldn't bring him in, but this season he's looking good. Hopefully he stays injury free. I think he can cover for Saka on the right. I think we need a striker up front and the rest and the left 8. Mikel Merino being the left 8 would be great. The defensive record that guy has, duo winning, is amazing. So, Mikel Merino being, if we have a Declan Rice, Mikel Merino in front of our back four with Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba, and White, or even Timber, like I don't see who's coming to score. Raya might as well just take the Golden Glove from the beginning of the season. Like they might as well just give it to him. I'm serious. Like I don't see how you go. If we're talking the guy who has won the most duels in all of Europe's top 7 leagues, sitting with Declan Rice in front of a back four that was the best back defensive team last season. Now adding Calafiori to that same back four. Like, just think about defensively how solid that is. That is, so yeah.
Let's take a second and actually talk about this Mikel Merino deal. What is going on with the Mikel Merino deal? Why is it taking so long? Do you think this is just natural that we see deals just take a little bit longer? And also, people in the chat, let me know. Are you guys I feel like as a fan, I lose patience quite quickly when I don't hear about stuff for a couple of days. But surely they must be working on the deal in the background. Mikel Merino to Arsenal. He wants to come to Arsenal. He wants to join Arsenal. We're ahead of Barcelona. We're ahead of Atletico Madrid. Surely Mikel Merino is going to get done very soon. What's taking so long? That's what I'm starting to worry about. I know we shouldn't be freaking out, but like,
well, the season is not the transfer window is not closed.
The season's about 2 weeks away.
I know. I'm saying the transfer window is not closed though. So here's the thing about it: you have to also understand, as a team that did what we did last season, which was literally fell short of winning the league on the last day, the pieces that we need have to be the right pieces. You don't have to rush. We have a team that can start the season right now and start winning games and doing well, and we can easily just slowly get our players to like merging. Like, even if Calafiori came in a week before the season started, I wouldn't have been bothered. I won't be worried because I know that we still have a squad that can start the season up and going like really good. Now, if we needed multiple pieces like in Manchester United, we need to overhaul the squad. I'll be panicking that we're taking this amount of time because these new players have to all gel. What we're bringing in is experienced players who just need to slot in, right? And we want to get it right. We want to make sure that everything is. We want to make sure as well that we're not, going over PSR issues. Like, but we keep talking about this. But we're asking for 3 million more for Eddie Nketiah. People are saying, no, why don't you just take the deal? I'm like, that 3 million could take you over PSR, and you might have points deducted like they did to teams last season. Everton got deducted points. Leicester got deducted points. Nottingham Forest got deducted points. You don't want to be that team that gets deducted points because you made some rush thing. You could have easily taken 3 more days and finalized with these people and gotten a better deal, or taking 4 more days and waited till the weekend.
Would you rather some other players? Because people are saying they'd rather Fofana, like a stopgap signing, or Fabian Ruiz, or some people saying both Fabian Ruiz and Moreno.
The Fabian Ruiz deal, I understand that they want to do a loan deal. They don't want to do an outright sale. That's what people don't understand. They're asking for a loan deal. And if you're asking for a loan deal and it's not an obligation to, it's not a loan deal with the option to, like, obligation to buy, it's option to buy. That's unfair to us. So we take it for a year. We take up the wages off you guys. We pay everything. And at the end of the year, you then slap some ridiculous price on him and we can't afford him and he's got to go back. Then we now start renegotiating back and forth. It's not. Fabian Ruiz would be great. He might get us over the line as well. But if we get the right pieces, if Mikel Merino comes in, look, I say this again: if Thomas Partey is fit throughout the season this year, and we have a Mikel Merino, we have Odegaard, we have Rice in that midfield, and we have Jorginho as our backup 6, like I'm not worried that just if Thomas Partey can stay fit, which I think he will this season. I also think Gabriel Jesus, this is his season where he's going to stay fit. Finally.
All right. Let me just look at the most recent Mikel Merino update is from Gunner Blog. This is the most recent update on Mikel Merino. Before we move on to new news, Arsenal are holding interest in Mikel Merino. The central midfielder remains focused. The player is a huge admirer by Mikel Arteta, but Arsenal are exploring their options in the midfield market. Merino would be keen to join and agreement can be reached. It just sounds like nothing's happened yet, the way they're speaking. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But before we go any further, do me a favor, guys. Please hit that like button. On the weekend, some stuff happened where people were quite upset. We got a bid for Eddie Nketiah, which we turned down. And now HITC understand Arsenal are prepared to Eddie Nketiah to stay at Arsenal if the valuation is not met. And people are losing their absolute goddamn minds. I think Arsenal are still going to try to sell Eddie Nketiah, and they're just playing hardball. What do you think? Do you think we're going to lose out on the 27 million euros and we're just going to end up not selling him? Or do you think it's a situation where Eddie Nketiah will continue to have value and we're going to be able to sell him regardless? Yo, you there? Okay, he's not. I don't know what happened to him. But yeah, people, tell me, how you guys feeling about Arsenal potentially messing up the deal with Marseille over Eddie Nketiah? What's this guy saying? How do I join the call? Bro, this is not a call-in show. This is genuinely not a call-in show. My apologies if you misunderstood. I usually do call-in shows on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. So I'll have time for you to jump in on a Wednesday show, hopefully. Hey everyone, you want to join call-in? Hi everyone, how do you join the call-in? Question mark. It's not a Discord, it's not a call-in show. But of course, if you guys want to call in, I can set up a call-in show tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Just let me know what the best chance is. Why will Marseille pay 30 million for someone who is not better than someone playing in the French second division? I think you guys are kind of not misunderstanding. I'm serious. Arsenal are stupid all the time. We ain't winning anything this season if we don't get rid of him. Wow, you guys, if we keep Eddie, Arteta and Edu need to go. Damn, you guys are really, really on to the boys for this. Personally, I don't think they're gonna be dumb enough to try to continue to reject bids. I think at this point they rejected that bid, hoping that Marseille are so desperate for the player that they will come back in a third time. But now it's a situation where if we go back and try to sell Eddie Nketiah, we are probably going to get less than the 27. If we go back to Marseille and ask them, hey, what about that bid we rejected? We can't do that. What's going to happen is this is going to be a Kieran Gibbs situation where we reject a good bid, we reject a decent bid, and then end up selling the player for 3 million less because we rejected the bid, and now that club knows that we're more desperate to sell than we are anything else. And it is kind of annoying because we keep hearing reports of us wanting to sell players. Now, there was also reports about this here, Arsenal accelerating negotiations with Galatasaray player. I honestly don't believe some of these reports. I don't believe some of these reports, but and especially Eddie Nketiah staying at the club. I just choose to not believe that the club would go from receiving all those nice bids for Eddie Nketiah to now saying they just don't want to sell him at all. Yeah, I think they're bluffing. And if Marseille come in with a decent bid, another bid, maybe give us 30 million euros, we will take it in a heartbeat. I really don't think we're going to hold out for the 35 million. As for this guy here, Arsenal accelerating negotiations with Galatasaray winger Baris, Alper, Yamzi. I don't believe this either. I need to see more before I start, because there's been so many Turkish players that we've been linked to this window that has been absolute BS. There's just been so many Turkish players that we've been linked to left, right, and center that I have heard about that we never actually ended up doing anything with. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. That's another story here that's just I consider fake news. Moving on, Arsenal's boys are back. William Saliba's back. As you can see, Bukayo Saka is back in training. We've already seen Declan Rice is back in training, so the boys are all ready to be back, ready to go for training. Thomas Partey is there. But yeah, that is one thing. This is another thing. What is Arsenal doing, sending out proposals for random youths, 16-year-old Brazilian youths? I've not heard anything about this guy. He's not been spoken about as one of the best upcoming Brazilians, blah, 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 blah. But Arsenal will send a proposal worth 25 million plus bonuses for a 16-year-old this week. Inter Time Lane is sent this exclusive out. Personally, I don't believe this shit 1 second. Sometimes we hear about Brazilian Wonderkid. Sometimes we hear about Arsenal making bids for players, and sometimes we just hear about all these other things. But this right here doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why would we go and get? Why would we go and spend 25 million euros on this Brazilian Wonderkid when Mikel Merino is right there that we want to spend similar amount of money on, and we haven't gotten the deal done? This does not make sense. This does not make sense. This makes me believe that these reports are either falsified or that the club has spoken with Arsenal and Arsenal have been told that this is how much the deal is going to cost. But the reports are saying that Arsenal will send a proposal worth 25 million plus bonuses for internationals, for a 16-year-old attacking midfielder, Gabriel Carvalho, this week. I'm sorry, this don't make sense. Why would we submit a bid of 25 million for a 16-year-old when we are trying to win now? I get it, we need to build for the future, but 25 million pounds that could help us go get an Eze, 25 million pounds that can help us go get a Mikel Merino, 25 million pounds that could help us go get somebody who can help us win right now. What on earth are they thinking? I know Edu Gaspar wants to pave the way for the next generation, but I'm not going to forget about Marquinhos. I'm not going to forget about some of the misses we had. This kid does look like he's quite exciting. He looks like a young, exciting winger, but I don't think he's ready to help us anytime soon. And I just don't know why we're heavily linked to these youngsters. Maybe it's something for the future that we can do in a year's time when he's maybe like 17, 18, when he's developed a little bit more. But at this moment in time, I don't think so. Let me know if you guys think. Whatever this club does, not shocking me anymore. Rotten to the core. Damn. Big up to you, bro. Big up to you. Hope you're doing well. Edu, it's Edu. People are on Edu's case. Marquinhos 2.0. He'll get paid by the agent. I don't know. Some people saying you're disrespectful. I might not like Liga, but sometimes he says stuff. This fan base, that is true. He is one of the worst. What? This is not about Liga, bro. Let's not do this. Big up to you, RD United TV. Hope you're doing well, my guy. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, let's continue. When it comes to Deo, you back yet, bro? Deo, are you there? Deo is not back yet, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, let's continue to the next topic. The next topic of the day is, of course, Arsenal's academy goalkeeper Karl Hein is set to join La Liga side Real Valladolid on loan. I'm sorry, I forget how to pronounce this club's name. Real Valladolid. How do you pronounce this name? Valladolid. Yeah, I thought I said it right. So Arsenal goalkeeper Karl Hein will be is set to join newly promoted La Liga side Real Valladolid. Now, what I wonder is, does this mean now Ramsdale is going to be staying? What does this mean for our goalkeeper situation? Are we going to go out and go get what do you call it, the other goalkeeper sorted out right away? Are we going to do that? What are we going to do? Catch a live show? Big up to you, Marco 506. Appreciate it. Thank you. Arsenal Football Club should not listen to some of our crazy fans. That's true. That is very true. But yeah, let's talk about this though. Karl Hein did good in the preseason friendlies, and now after being close with a move to League One side Charlton, He's now joined the Spanish team in Ligue 1, in La Liga, Real Valladolid on loan. Sorry. This is great news for him, of course, and he will now be getting an opportunity to go up against some of the best attackers in La Liga, and he'll be able to get himself some top experience as a goalkeeper. But I wonder what this means for Arsenal. Does this mean that we're going to go push through the deal for the goalkeeper, the second goalkeeper over at Wolves? Does this mean we're going to go and get Ramsdale to stay and potentially have him as a backup? What are we going to do with our goalkeeper situation? Because this doesn't add any more clarity to our goalkeeper situation. In my opinion, it just gives us more clarity that Karl Hein will be sent out on loan, and we might get that British goalkeeper. What's his name? What's that goalkeeper's name that we're after again from Wolves? What's that goalkeeper's name from Wolves? Wolves goalkeeper. Arsenal. Who's that goalkeeper? Dan Bentley. So yeah, we're gonna see if we can still get Dan Bentley over the lines. Because remember, we had a 50K bid rejected. We submitted a 50K bid in 2024 for a player. It's crazy. It's 27 plus bonuses. Whatever that's base ESR was performing well, we'll see. We'll get the 7 million. Yeah, you know what? 37 million for Emile Smith Rowe seems like good business, and that was good business. That's pretty much what we paid for Fabio Vieira. 35 million for Fabio Vieira, 65 for Havertz. Good players, but too big a price. Yeah, that just goes to show you football today, man. The prices in football is crazy. The prices in football is crazy for some of these stuff. But let's get on to the next piece of news before we go any further. We talk about prices in football, but this news is going to annoy you, or you might be okay with it. Guys, Zinchenko is not going nowhere. Zinchenko is not going nowhere. Not only is he not going nowhere, he was given a new shirt number. Zinchenko reportedly has said, 17 is very special for me. It was the number I wore as a young player. I've always requested the number 17 when playing for my country. With the number 17 being free since Cedric left, I asked if I could change. Thank to everyone at the club. So this is confirming that 1, Zinchenko will be wearing the number 17 shirt. Number 2, Zinchenko will not be going anywhere this upcoming summer. Zinchenko is going to be part of this Arsenal team for the upcoming season. He will most likely be playing a role at left back, and he will most likely be rotated in and out of the side at that left back position. Don't forget that there's going to be games where we play up against low blocks and Zinchenko might be needed. But there's also going to be games like we play against Mo Salah where you should not have him anywhere near the bench. But yeah, how do you guys feel about the fact that Zinchenko will be back for another season? What are you saying, my brother?
I think people conveniently forget how good Zinchenko was for us when we had that season with Granit Xhaka and we lost the league by 5 points. I think people conveniently forget that our left side last season was very, very imbalanced without Granit Xhaka. And so we saw the worst of everybody on our left side, including Martinelli. If we're going to use that judgment for Zinchenko, oh, he's so bad at the back, which he is defensively, but forgetting what he brings, then we should use the same judgment for Martinelli. Martinelli did not perform last season. They both had injuries in and out, right? So they both had similar things happen to them. So we can easily apportion and say, well, if you're saying Zinchenko out, then Martinelli out. The whole left side was bad last season. It wasn't working, which is what we're trying to fix. So for me, I think having a profile player like him as part of the squad depth that we have in our defense is great. We're going to play games in the League Cup. We're going to play games in the FA Cup where some of these teams are going to sit very, very deep, right? Having a Zinchenko or a Calafiori as options who can actually drive forward or, invert into the midfield would be great for us. We can't sit here and be like, oh, well, now that we have Calafiori, get Zinchenko out of my club. If we had done that last season, gotten Zinchenko out because Timber came in, see what happened to Timber. It would have been worse for us if we had gotten rid of Zinchenko last season and because we got Timber. Look at what would have happened to us. So the idea that we now have a different profile player in each of those positions, right, makes it For example, even if we play the Calafiori left back in a game, and for some reason we've been unable to break down this team, we've just been unable to break them down. And Zinchenko comes for 15 minutes and does what he does, and we find that opening and we score one goal and we just move on, get our 3 points. If that's what we're using him for, great. We did that with Leandro Trossard until we realized, okay, Martinelli is injured. Trossard began to play more. Trossard was our off-the-bench player that made things happen, So I'm not saying Zini is a star player or whatever. I'm just saying it's a different type of profile, and I'm happy to keep him. Now that we have Timber back, now that we have Calafiori as well, we already have people that can cover that position solidly. But in certain games, we might need him. We might need him. Not even we will need him in certain games. Because I think recency bias, like people just look at his bad performance last season and don't put into context that our entire left side last season was horrible. They don't put that into context. They just say, "Oh."
Personally, I wonder if he might play in midfield. That's just what
that's something like, yeah, you can push him up into the midfield. That's another option. He's a versatile player. It's good to have players like that. Because let's just say, which fingers crossed, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. Calafiori gets injured, Timber gets injured again. Let's just say, like it's not impossible. I mean, we saw Timber out for the whole season. We saw Thomas Partey out for the whole season, literally. So these things happen. So my thing is, I'm glad that we have different profiles to be able to play different teams, depending on how they set up against us.
All right, let's keep it moving. Arsenal's reinforcement, the attacking reinforcement at Arsenal will most likely depend on further outgoings. That is annoying. Also, some of those outgoings might be Eddie Nketiah, Reiss Nelson, Aaron Ramsdale. Well, we could have sold Eddie Nketiah for 27 million euros. How do you feel about that, bro?
The deal is not off, though. The deal is not off from what I understand.
We rejected the bid.
No, we rejected a bid of 20. So this is where it was. We wanted 35. They said, oh, no, too much. And we said, we'll settle for 30 if you do 30, right? We came down. They came in with a 25. And then when they brought their next offer, they brought a 27. Like, what are you doing? If you really want to do a deal, then do a deal, right? In this current market, right, where players like Omorodion Onions or whatever his name is, the guy who Chelsea is going for 40 million, who scored 9 goals last season. Players like Xerxes, Atalanta, who, like, we're looking at players like even defenders that United are paying 65.
Who's this guy Chelsea's going for?
Omorodion, I don't know, Onions or something,
For 40 million.
Huh?
For 40 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I hear, 40 million euros. So my question is, this market is so inflated and the market determines the prices. We can't sit here as Arsenal now and be like, oh, just because we're going to get 27, let's just take it. We've been horrible at selling, right? We've been terrible at selling.
But it's kind of a slap in the face
And my thing is, here's my thing, Igal. Let me just say this.
No, it's kind of a slap in the face when you hear we need attacking reinforcements. In order for us to get that, we need to sell. When we're offered 27 million, we're rejecting it.
But I'm saying this, Igal. I've heard all these guys who go up on Twitter and just post what they feel. I'm not about that life. Like, they can say what they want. I'm waiting for the club officially. Like I said, my thing is, I don't care if you keep Eddie Nketiah. Get me another striker. Move like a big club and put Eddie Nketiah in the under-21s. I don't care. I don't care what you do. Get me another striker. The idea that I now want to begin to pocket watch and say, well, I want us to be under PSR. I want us to do right. I don't want us to get points deductions. But at the same time, I think we're in a good place financially as Arsenal. If we look at the market and what we've done, we paid 20.
Would this be the striker you want?
I don't know if that's the striker I want. I
just Are you Nigerian?
Yeah, I'm Nigerian. Yeah, I like him. Don't get me wrong. I like him. All I'm saying is I want a striker with a different profile that is prolific.
Because Arsenal reportedly could be making a late move for Victor Osimhen.
Well, if we make a late move for Victor Osimhen, that's a good deal. I think if we can get it for the right price, that's a good deal. I'm happy to for Victor Osimhen and Victor Gyökeres. I'm happy for Isaac. I'm happy for anybody with a different profile. And the reason I'm saying that is what people don't realize, and I keep breaking this down this way. Last season, City won 28 games. Arsenal won 28 games out of 38. Arsenal drew 5 games and lost 5 games. City lost 3 games and drew 7 games. Drew 7. That's how they won the league. We were 2 draws away from winning the league. So if we're saying upfront, we then want to go and spend 100 million to bring in somebody who is just those 2 games that we needed. Because if we stayed on pace this season the same way, what we're really saying is we're adding this person in. Defensively, we've covered up now where it's like if we don't lose those 2 games that the 2 games that we lost, if we don't lose those 2 games, we're on par, right? Now up front, we strengthen up again. We bring in. I just want a striker that in those games where it's hard to score, he picks up the ball, does something with it, and just puts it in the back of the net. We get 3 points and we move on.
Now, before we continue, I just want to say Chelsea are effectively close to the closing the door on the signing of Victor Osimhen, meaning they're out of the picture. PSG remain in the running for the player, while Arsenal could come back in to play. So, meaning we can make a late bid or late move for him. He doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia, and Victor Osimhen, he's fully convinced by the project at Arsenal. Now, that being said, he definitely does not want to go to Chelsea, and he definitely doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia, leaving him with only Arsenal and PSG to go. I don't think Arsenal are going to budge on the valuation if it's anywhere near the 100 million or something like that. But if it's the 70 or 80 million that they're talking, could you see Arsenal make a late 70 or 80 million pound bid for Victor Osimhen?
Not impossible. We are good. I was just breaking out we're good financially. See, we paid 27 million for David Raya this season. This is how much we spent. Let me break it down. 27 million for David Raya, 1 million for the goalkeeper that we brought in. I keep forgetting his name. From Ajax. We've paid 35 million pounds for Calafiori. And if we get Merino done, we're looking at 25 million pounds because it's 30 million euros. So let's even remove Merino because we haven't done that deal. But 27 plus 35 plus 1. So 28 plus 35, we're in the 40, 28 plus 35, we're in the 50, roughly 50, 55, 60 million pound range, right? That we spent so far. We sold one player for half of that, which is Emile Smith Rowe. So we've literally spent about 30 something million, literally this season. In 30 something million pounds. I'm just roughly I'm not looking at the numbers anyway. I'm just off the top of my head. If that is what we spent so far, we actually have what it takes. If Merino is a 25 that they claim, which means we can bring in Merino and we can do a big splash on the forward. We can do an 80 or 90 on the forward. We can afford to do that this season. Our average spend, which is why when people say, Arteta spent 700 million. And I'm like, yeah, do the breakdown. Over 5 years, 700 million. That's 150 million a year. That's what Arteta was spending. Other clubs are spending 200, 220, 250. The Tottenhams. There's many clubs that are spending him every year. So if they say 700 million when you have one, I'm like, yeah, 700 million over 5 years. You're roughly looking at 150 to 160 a year. That's what they were spending. So if we can do that right around 160 to 200 million this season, this transfer market, I think we do well. I think bring in a Merino and then go big on a forward.
All right, we go and wrap it up here. But I'm just gonna say this: if we get Victor Osimhen, I'm worried he might not be. He might be a lot of money. He might not be actually.
I don't care about the money. Look,
I don't think he's gonna be. I'm worried that he might not live up to the billing. He might not be that
look,
guy.
I don't see. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, let's not censor.
Am I crazy to? I'm not looking down on Victor Osimhen, but
let's not don't sensationalize the price of a player by saying they won't live up. Here's the thing: we want somebody who's coming in. I don't care for what price to just win us those 2-3 extra games for us to win the league. That's all I care about. I don't care what you do, whether you put the ball in the back of the net with your butt, your hand, your head. As long as you score the goal and it's legal and we win, then he's lived up to the price. If he comes in,
I personally,
because I think we're looking at
100% sold on Victor Osimhen.
Because we're looking at now, people are now looking at individual performance. Oh, he didn't carry the ball and drive well enough, but he scored the goal. We did this to Kai Havertz last season. People crucified him. People didn't like the fact that we went for Kai Havertz. People crucified him first half of the season. And the second half of the season, oh my God, King Kai. I'm like, look at you, hypocrites. Like, not you, Iga, but I'm like, generally people, like, I'm like, look at people, So my thing is, I just want a player that will make a difference in those games where we lacked the clinical edge to finish. Bring him in, let him score, bring in your defenders, lock up, pack the bus, but get your 3 points and get out of there. And just get out of it. It's this. I'm not interested in how beautiful you want to play this season, Arsenal. I don't really want. If you play well and win, good. I'm not really interested in that. I don't care about your possession, your field tilt. All I want is for you to go into every game, have a different profile of player to play that team the way they're set up against us, break them down, score a goal or two, lock up the shop, get your 3 points, and move on. Gone for 114 points. That's it.
I did this the other day. If you could sign anybody for Arsenal right now, who would it be? Everyone in the comment section. Attacking player. Your number one choice. Who would it be? Deo.
Oh, if I could sign, oh no, I thought when you said everybody in the chat, I was waiting for the chat to like, if I could sign a player right now, you know who I would go and sign? I would sign Victor Gyökeres. That's who I would sign. And the reason I would sign Victor Gyökeres is this.
People say Musiala, not realistic. Haaland, not realistic. Tony or Gyökeres? If I had a choice between Tony and Gyökeres, I actually would go for Tony.
I wouldn't touch Tony.
We don't need Tony's profile because we have Kai Havertz, right?
I know, but I wouldn't touch Tony with a 10-foot pole, and I'll tell you why I wouldn't touch Tony.
No, because we have Kai Havertz, who's similar.
Not because we have Kai Havertz, but because every big club that has been linked with him this season has backed away from him. What is up with Tony? Let's start asking realistic questions. He was linked to Manchester United, they backed away. Tottenham wanted him, they've backed away. Every big club that wanted him has backed away. That in itself is a question mark.
Maybe because he has a big ego.
No, maybe because he's 28. He has 1 year left on his contract. They're going to want big money for him. He's also going to want big salary. And at the end of the day, if he doesn't perform, you are now stuck with an older player on big salary, like when we had Mesut Ozil and the rest of them and the likes of them, who were all 26, 27, 28, 29, getting Champions League wages, but not giving us output. If you got a younger striker in that same profile, right? A Gyökeres who's younger, you know you can still get 2-3 years out of him. And if he has one good season, you know you can sell him the following season for good money to make your money back. But you can't sell. There's no resale value on Ivan Toney. So a lot of the big clubs are not because they don't think he's good, but because you have to look at financially with all the new rules that they're putting in place. You could easily be caught up by next season with a player who's on big wages out there, 29, Thomas Partey. We're dealing with that right now. He has 1 year left on his contract. Nobody's come for him. How are we going to sell him? We can't. We got him for 45 million. Hopefully we get one last good season out of him. You know, he probably his best, and he takes, you know, something, gives us something to smile about at the end of the season. So I think that's why people are not touching him. It's not because he's not good, but you just have to weigh your options. You literally have to weigh the options correctly and be like, hey, because if you got a younger striker like a Gyökeres, even if he didn't perform as much as you want this season, you still have 2-3 years out of him. You know, 4 years, 5 years.
This is my list. If I could sign a striker right now, realistic, somebody who, if Newcastle would sell,
it's Isak. That's who I'd go for.
Like, that's like the number one fit.
I think what needs to happen, I think what Arsenal need to do is force a sale on our homegrown players. With Nelson out, Nketiah out. Like if I was Edo, I'd be like, we're going to force a sale to the highest that we can get.
Could we get Newcastle to be tempted to sell?
No, this hear me out. This is how I think I would do this with them. I would say to them, because I want Isak and I know they need a goalkeeper, right? I will force a sale on my academy players, which means that Ramsdale, who's also I think Ramsdale is categorized as homegrown for us as well, right? Because of his age when we got him, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah. So here we go. All my homegrown, Nelson and Nketiah, everybody are, that's full profit for me. I will slap 130 million down with Ramsdale. I say, Newcastle, here you go. You need a goalkeeper, and here the 130. I don't care. Like, I'm closing my eyes and betting on my odds that once I bring Isak in, we win the league. Like, I'm literally, that's the only way I see this working. Like, you need to give them something else. You know. You need to
let me know, people.
That's what I would do.
I'm going Isak. If there's any striker Arsenal could sign, it's Isak. Number 2, Nico Williams over any other striker. What do you think about that?
If Nico Williams wing. If we could get Nico Williams, yes, I would get Nico Williams.
Would you rather get him over Victor Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen?
Yes, I would. I would rather get him over either of those two. Because then guess what? Because then I can then say, all right, Gabriel Martinelli, who I know can actually play like that inside forward, can go back inside forward for me. I'd have Gabriel Martinelli playing inside forward. Before, I see Martinelli, he's very clinical, and if he plays that inside forward, I think he's going to eventually. We saw it in preseason. We saw him do that in preseason. So
also, I don't think Ramsdale is going anywhere.
Yeah, well, it's not. I don't want him to leave, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that when I look at our team now, if we get in Merino, we get in the players that we need to get in, like for like in each position, we have very, very strong players. Martinelli and Trossard on this side, Gabriel Jesus and Saka on the left side, and then we have maybe say like a Victor Gyökeres and a Kai Havertz up front, and then you can swap any one of those in midfield. Mikel Merino, you have Reiss, you have Jorginho and Partey in the 6, and then you have Odegaard and Vieira. I mean, albeit that Vieira's injuries have been a problem. Hopefully this season he stays fit. I know that the player in there, but then you go to defense and you go to left back, and then you're looking at Calafiori and Zinchenko in the left back. You're looking at Kiwior and Gabriel. You're looking at Timber and Saliba, and then you're looking at Tomiyasu and Ben White, right? So in all the other tournaments, the League Cup, the FA Cups, and then you now have a Ramsdale in goal for the FA Cups, the League Cups. Like that's what I would like, I really want him to stay. I don't want him to leave. I know he wants more first team games, but he just needs to cool his head, man. He needs to get back into being able to focus properly and not be, and not get too overwhelmed with the like when he's playing and making those type of mistakes. And then of course working on his, playing out from the back with his feet. But I think Ramsdale staying would be a good thing for us in all the other tournaments, the League Cups, the FA Cups. We're not going to be panicking this Karl Hein, and they were not going to be overplaying Raya. We can then now shuffle players and manage them. And I think if we do this, we'll see less injuries with likes of Thomas Partey and co. Thomas Partey's injury was because the season before last season, we depended on him throughout the entire season. And the minute he got injured, that was it, done. But when you have people
Martinelli needs to improve also, I agree.
Martinelli this season, I think Martinelli this season is his breakout season for Arsenal. I see Martinelli doing more than 15 plus GA this season. And the reason I say that is this last season, I don't want to blame anybody on the left-hand side. Our left-hand side was totally broken. Without Granit Xhaka, Martinelli looked really horrible at the beginning of the season. Then his injury came in and he got taken out. And then Leandro Trossard, who I think brilliantly, because he's very experienced, much older, has played longer, and was just more technical, was why Leandro Trossard was able to shine out.
Oh, what about Chiesa? We're linked to Chiesa.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not interested in him either.
I'm not. He's a good player, but I'm not a big fan. I think he's a very good player, but I'm not a big fan. Yeah, I mean, like for me, like I said, my top striker would be Victor Gyökeres, and I think the reason is one, he's 6'2", he's imposing. I want the Arsenal team, when you look at them from front to back, to just be imposing. That's why I like the Mikel Merino signing. Physical, technical, strong, wins his deals. You have the same thing in Declan Rice, like, physical, technical, big, strong. You look at our back 4 or our back 8. Apart Zinchenko and Timber, everybody else is 6'1" and above. That's what I'm talking about. We scored how many? 19 goals from set pieces last season. Our defense contributed 15 goals to the pot last season. What do you think will happen when you have all these type of tall giants? If you can't score from an open play, then score from a set piece and let's move on. Score, bring in more defenders, lock up the shop, pack the bus, and let's go. That's all I care about this season.
Declan Rice sideways played as right midfielder. What? I don't know what you're talking about. But people here saying fantasy attacker transfers. 1, Isaac. 2, Williams. 3, Gyökeres. 4, Victor Osimhen. 5, Neto. All help us win the Premier League. 110%. I fully agree with that.
I agree with you. Isaac for sure. Isaac for sure get
there you go. But bro, we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna be back again live later tonight where we're gonna talk about Man City, Chelsea, and some of these guys and all their madness. And we're actually gonna ask the question: are Man City strengthening enough, or are they basically handing us the league title? Because I think some of their lack of business does make me a little bit intrigued, because we are still trying to improve, where it doesn't look like they're making too much business to get themselves much better. But yeah, I'm going to be on Never a Foul right now, and then I'm going to be on Husam's channel afterwards. I redirected right now to Never a Foul, so go catch us there. Big up, everybody. Dayo, I'll see you tonight if you want to jump on. You're always welcome.
Appreciate it, my brother. Thank you very much.
Have a good one, everybody. Peace.
Amen. Peace.